It is Monday, June 16th, 2026. The Federal Reserve meets today and tomorrow. Trump announced an Iran deal breakthrough. The World Cup rolls on. Here are the day's top stories. 1. The Federal Reserve begins its two-day monetary policy meeting today. The decision comes Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Fed Chair Kevin Warsh will lead the meeting. Warsh replaced Jerome Powell, whose five-year term ended May 15th. The Fed is expected to hold the federal funds rate steady at 3.50% to 3.75%. Persistent inflation running at 4.2% year-over-year and a resilient labor market with unemployment near 4.3% are driving the hold decision. Markets price in a 99% probability of no change. The decision remains data-dependent, meaning future rate moves depend on inflation and employment data. No rate cut or hike is expected at this meeting. The Fed chair will hold a press conference at 3 p.m. Wednesday and answer questions about the economic outlook. Why it matters: the Fed's stability signals confidence that inflation is being controlled without further economic restraint. Holding rates through mid-year supports borrowing costs for mortgages, auto loans, and credit, while inflation remains above the Fed's 2% target. The Fed's next opportunity to move rates is July. 2. Trump announced an Iran nuclear deal breakthrough Monday. He claims the agreement will be signed Friday. Trump told reporters the U.S. and Iran have reached a great deal that will bring peace and security to the region. He said the Strait of Hormuz will open immediately when the deal is signed. He also predicted oil will flow from both ends of the region. Trump confirmed the deal will be signed Friday, saying it represents a historic breakthrough in Middle East negotiations. This is the 40th time Trump has claimed a deal was imminent since late March. April, May, and early June all saw announced deadlines pass without finalized agreement. Oil prices dropped more than 3% Monday on the announcement. The decline signals market confidence that a signed deal would stabilize energy supplies. S&P 500 futures rose 0.6% and Dow Jones futures added 0.7%. Energy traders are betting strongly on a deal reducing regional tensions and lowering global energy costs. Why it matters: a signed deal would end a conflict costing over $30 billion in military expenditures and reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which has been closed since April 18th. 20% of the world's daily oil transits this waterway. However, Trump's track record on deal announcements requires caution. The ceasefire negotiated in April was initially supposed to be 2 weeks. It is now extended 4 times. Verification will require Iran's formal approval and actual signing, not just Trump's announcement. 3. The World Cup group stage continued over the weekend with multiple decisive results. Saturday, Qatar drew Switzerland 1-1 in Group B. Brazil drew Morocco 1-1 in a tight Group C match. Scotland defeated Haiti 1-0 with a dominant Group C performance. Sunday, Australia defeated Turkey 2-0 in a commanding Group D display, giving Australia its first victory. Germany thoroughly dominated Curacao with a 7-1 Group E victory, one of the tournament's largest scoring margins. Monday, Spain faced Cape Verde, Belgium faced Egypt, Saudi Arabia faced Uruguay, and Iran faced New Zealand in group openers. 72 matches remain through June 24th, when group play concludes and the knockout stage begins. Why it matters: the tournament is proceeding smoothly despite ongoing regional conflict. Group stage outcomes determine which 16 teams advance to the knockout rounds beginning June 28th. Early results show dominant performances from Germany and establish Australia as a Group D threat against the USMNT. 4. Israeli strikes on Lebanon continued over the weekend despite ongoing ceasefire negotiations with Iran. Israeli forces struck positions in southern Lebanon Sunday and Monday, targeting Hezbollah bases and military installations. An international humanitarian convoy coordinated through UN peacekeepers in southern Lebanon attempted to return residents to their homes Sunday but was halted for over an hour at checkpoints before taking a longer route. The convoy reached its destination after 12 hours of travel. The convoy carried 25 trucks and several cars, with families trying to return home after months of displacement. The Lebanon ceasefire, announced April 16th, remains technically in effect but continues to be tested daily by Israeli military operations in the region. Why it matters: Israeli operations in Lebanon are the most volatile element of the fragile ceasefire. Iran has warned repeatedly it will retaliate if Israeli strikes in Lebanon continue. Every operation tests whether both sides will honor agreement boundaries. Civilian displacement continues despite the ceasefire, indicating the conflict remains active along the borders. 5. New Federal Reserve Chair. Kevin Warsh faces his first major rate decision with inflation still above target. Warsh replaced Jerome Powell on May 15th after Powell completed his full 5-year term as Fed chair. Warsh previously served as a Federal Reserve governor under President George W. Bush from 2006 to 2009 and brings extensive expertise in financial regulation and monetary policy. He also served in the Trump administration as Deputy Assistant to the President for International Economic Affairs. His appointment as Fed chair signals a policy continuity focused on maintaining financial stability. His first press conference Wednesday will signal the Federal Reserve's economic outlook for the remainder of 2026 and hint at policy direction heading into the second half of the year. Why it matters: leadership transitions at the Federal Reserve matter greatly for financial markets. Warsh's communication style and policy priorities will shape market expectations and business confidence. Powell oversaw aggressive rate cuts in late 2025 before inflation surged to 4.2%. Warsh will define whether 2026 brings further cuts, steady holding rates through year-end, or eventual rate increases if inflation remains persistent. Like and subscribe for fact-based news from official government sources only. Leave a comment. Tell us what stories you want to hear.